Good morning. Welcome to the 15-minute Chassidus Shir. We're in the middle of the Maimah Vate Tetzava in Tafshim Mem Aleph. We're holding in the middle of Ois Hey, speaking about where does the Yid here in this world have a natural emunas Hashem, and it comes from the Neshama as it is above. The Neshama, L'mayla, is attached to Hashem, and even in the guf, it's still a chelek elikam imal mamish, a piece of godliness, as opposed to worldliness. It's a piece of godliness, of elokus. And l'mayla, the neshama sees elokus, experiences elokus in a way that it becomes part of it. So, and this is also, this level of the neshama is it is l'mayla. Well, how about a yid lamata? Now, is it possible for a yid here lamata to feel and to experience Hashem as the neshama does above? The neshama above, it's a pure ruchni. It's only a purely spiritual entity. There's no physicality whatsoever, not a body, and there's no bodily needs. It's a purely spiritual. So for that to come into a body also is extremely difficult. So however, it's still one spiritual entity. So there can be, and there is an effect of that neshama as it is l'mayla without a body into the neshama here. So how does it show up? Occasionally a person might have a feeling of wanting to do teshuvah. It's as if you remember, oh, you know what? There's a part of me that really resonates with Hashem. That really resonates that there's a creator. That really resonates with Elokus. It's a little bit in the distance. And it can't be fully enclosed and apparent in the guf because it's the impact of that level of seeing Elokus L'mayla is an unearthly, unbody experience. You can only have it in spiritual worlds. And so, even if it becomes somewhat revealed in the neshama here below, it has to stay a little bit distant, because of the strong feeling to Elokus. If it were to be revealed here in the guf, the person would want to only stay in a spiritual world, and have nothing to do with the physical. A little bit like how the Meraglim felt in the Midbar, that they didn't want to go into Eretz Yisrael, and the whole generation said, that's not for us. We can't get involved in the Gashmis because we just feel this closest to Hashem and the Ruchnis. It's a pure spiritual existence. So in some ways, if this level of the Neshama would be revealed in the person, it would be extremely difficult to integrate that into our world, because the body and the Nefesh Abamis aren't in tune naturally with that. So like the Gemara says, there's 4 levels of life in the world. You've got daimim, inanimate, semeich, vegetation, things that grow. Chai, things that move and live and move around. Chai, animals, fish, birds, insects, etc. And people. People grow and they move and they have intelligence. 4 levels. The Gemara continues, and there's Yidden. So the obvious question is, are there 4 or are there 5? So as far as worldliness is concerned, there's 4. We live on the planet, that's not part of the world. A Yiddish neshama is connected, is godly, perceives godliness above, and that's what a Yid is. That's what a Jewish person is. That's his neshama. That's who we are. What makes us a Yid is this neshama. However, for it to be, it's enclosed in the guf, but it's not revealed in the guf, as we are here in Ilm Hazah. Otherwise, it just, so to speak, blow away the whole physical existence. It couldn't be integrated. It couldn't be in sync with the guf. So the effect that it has could be sometimes a person will have an eye, want to do tshuva, or they'll recognize all of a sudden, oh, I see the hashgacha pratis in the world. Hashem shines through more clearly. So these are the types of things that can flow down from that. So this is one aspect of the neshama. It sees Elokus. To understand exactly what it is, it's tricky because we see things that are outside of us in Gashmias. So it's really a koyach that we have that connects us to something that makes it very real. That's what seeing does. We see Gashmizdika Zachen. We live in a Gashmizdika world. We don't see Ruchnis. By the Neshama, it's flipped. It sees Ruchnis, experiences Ruchnis, and even more experiences Elokus, godliness. However, if you talked a bit about Gashmias, it wouldn't have a clue what you're talking about. Just not in that world. There's no Gashmias there. For us, it's a strange thing to think about. But that's the experience of the neshama l'mayla. The seeing is a koyach that makes it attached to it and makes it experiential, makes it to be completely one with it, unites with the entity that sees, unites it together. So, however this works, what's the neshama l'mayla before it sees or when it sees, that's difficult to get. However, that the neshama is such an energy and bundle of life that is integrated with Elokus l'mayla to such an extent, that's what the level we're talking about, where seems to be some level where it's outside of the neshama and the neshama is attached to it. It sees Elokus. The neshama l'mayla experiences that. So that's one explanation. We're holding 4 lines down in Oishek, in the middle, the third word of the line, V'oid bir. And there's a second explanation why it is that we have Emunas Hashem. The Sheirish Ha'amunah, who me'etzem and neshama shalamayla mizlai chazi. The neshama, the etzem of the neshama is that a yid has. It's the etzem. The etzem is higher than this level of the neshama sees above. It's an etzem. It's the very being of what it is. In other words, when you see something, there's 2 entities. There's the one that sees and the thing that you see. In our world, it's very clear. See my point? However, l'mayla, when you're talking about ruchnis, we tend to think ruchnis is one big blur. It's not so. However, where the neshama is concerned, you have a neshama that's an entity, and it sees Elokus. Now we're talking about the etzem, the very essence of what it is. So he says here in the brackets, Shalomayla memazlai chazi. The zeh etzem neshama makusheres be'Elokus. This that the etzem of the neshama is tied to, bound to, attached to Elokus. His kashus atzmis. It's an intrinsic bonding that. It doesn't depend on any type of a cause. Also not because of re'iyah, seeing something which is l'mayla min haseichel. We said in the last year, there's understanding, there's re'iyah, then there's re'iyah, there's seeing it so it's so clear, and it becomes part of you and experiential. But then we're talking about the very essence. That it's the very essence of what the neshama is. What does it mean, the very essence of something? A sort of an example is that you have a human being. Now, human beings take on all different flavors, size, shape, attitudes, lifestyle, countries, language, culture, all types of different things. And so they show up in different ways. However, they can even act. We do things as human beings. We swim under the water, either in a submarine or with a suit or with a snorkel or just swimming. We climb trees. We fly in the air in a hot air balloon or free fall from an airplane with a parachute that hopefully works, or in airplanes or in a rocket ship. We do all these different types of things which are unique to human beings. It shows up in all the different ways. But the essence is that we're a human being. You can't say just because I swim under the water with a tank under the water, I'm a fish. You could act like a fish. Or because in an airplane, I'm a bird. You're a human being. There's the essence of what a person is. It's a human being. That's physically as the body says, it's a human body. Human body is different. We stand, we walk on 2 feet as an adult. Animals walk on 4. Even if you walk on 4 feet, you're not going to say you're an animal. You're a human being. Person can act like an animal, could have feelings like that, or could be aggressive, or could be placid like a sheep, aggressive like a lion. But they're a person. A human being is a human being. That's the essence. What's in the neshama? Neshama, so in spiritual terms, we flip it up, the level higher. What's in the neshama? A neshama is in its very essence godly. It's not that it's something which experiences godliness. So in those words, it's outside of it. The essence, the very being, what is in the neshama? Chelik elikam mimal. It is a godly inyan. The very essence is. So now you have that here. Now I'm living in Olam Hazeh. That neshama in a body with a nefesh abamis in Olam Hazeh walking around. What's the essence of this neshama? It's godly. And so if that is turned on, brought out, I'm going to scream Hashem is real. Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere. That's what I'm going to scream out if that neshama shines through. The very essence, all the time, 24/7. There's no time where it's not what it is. So the neshama above, it integrates and it's become united with Elokus because of Re'iyah. The very essence of the neshama, that's where the neshama is. That's the neshama Lamaila also. The deeper level of neshama Lamaila, even that which is Royal Elokus, is also its very essence is a godly entity. And Lamata also, the Yid, the essence of what's the Yid, it's neshama, what's a Yid Lamata, is this very deeper level of neshama too. That's why we have the Imunas Hashem. And every Yid has it. We've seen in the past where there's been Rahman Lislan, Hoyolesiyu, have had Yidden have given their lives on Kiddush Hashem. Why? They could be not very learned, even not very religious, but they identify, I'm a Yid, that's who I am. And to say I'm not, for whatever reason, that's just not an option. That's not even called living. That's the very essence of a Yid. That's the neshama. So further inside, v'yesh leimer, the mei hachilukim shebein shnei habiyurim inyanim hu, that from the differences there are with these 2 explanations, and not just explanations, the inyanim, how they are in the neshama. The emunah ben neshama hamelubeshes beguf abama riyas and neshama shalamayla habechinas makif. The belief that a neshama has, hearing that a Yid has, living here, neshama beguf, that comes from the neshama sees above, it's a level of makif. That means it stays distant, and a little distant from the life of the person. Why? The kivin neshama shalamayla he lamayla mihislapshus, because the neshama above is a spiritual entity, which that's where it lives, it exists, it's its natural habitat. That's higher than being enclosed in the guf. Lachain pu'ulosa ben neshama lebish beguf he bechinas makif. That's its effect of the neshama. It comes down into the guf. That's in a way that it's makif. It stays distant from the person. We'll stop here for today. Tomorrow, Mr. Hashem, we'll pick up and hopefully finish off this part of the Maimer, Oy Space. Thank you for joining. Have a wonderful day. If you'd like to dedicate a shir in honor of somebody or for a special occasion, you can do so online at rabbirabin.com. Have a great day. Zai Gesund.